So there's a video out there of this lady stating that how she felt joy about the murder of the UnitedHealthcare CEO. I don't think that no one should feel joy. I know people are celebrating, but like that's not the right way to go about this. Like unjustly killing someone, that's not the right way to handle things as Americans. But let's go through this video real quick.
We're waiting patiently here. So this issue of Brian Thompson, one of the top healthcare executives in the country, I'm just curious why your first reaction would be to his cold-blooded execution. And people wonder why we want these executives dead. And then you later commented when people were giving you a lot of blowback, I'm not alone, you said. Healthcare executive down with party balloons was on a next post that you commented on. Why would you be in such a celebratory mood about the execution of another human being? Aren't you supposed to be on the caring, sharing left where, you know, you believe in the sanctity of life?
I do believe in the sanctity of life. And I think that's why I felt, along with so many other Americans, joy, unfortunately, you know, because it feels like...
Serious?
I mean...
Joy in a man's execution?
Maybe not joy, but certainly not empathy.
Even Piers Morgan's like, are you serious right now? Are you for real? That's how you're going to express it? And then you see her backpedaling. As soon as she said joy, she knew she screwed up. She said the wrong word and screwed up big time.
Because again,
we're watching the footage. How can this make you joyful? This guy's a husband, he's a father, and he's being gunned down in the middle of Manhattan. Why does that make you joyful?
Of Americans that being murdered. So are the tens of thousands of Americans, innocent Americans, who died because greedy health insurance executives like this one push policies of denying care to the most vulnerable people. And the many millions of Americans that have watched people that I care about suffer and in some cases die because of lack of health care.
So should they all be killed then? Should they all be killed, these healthcare executives?
What a great question. Oh, if that's the case, should they all get killed? What a great question by Piers Morgan. Because I'm not one who believes that we need to solve murder with murder. That's not how we conduct things in America. We believe in justice. So no, I know I've been watching, you know, X.com, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, and all Reddit. People are celebrating the death of the CEO. I don't believe that's the way we should be going about it. Like, there's different ways to highlight the problems with healthcare and how the denial is killing people. Yes, I'm sure that CEO is responsible of killing thousands of Americans. And it should be highlighted one way or the other. Should be confronted through Congress or something to answer for this. But I don't believe that, like, killing them is the way to conduct justice. We have a process in line as Americans to do this.
Would that make you even more joyful?
No, that would not.
Well, why not?
And,
why are you laughing?
I think because it wouldn't fix the system.
You seem to find the whole thing hilarious.
It's probably a nervous laugh. Just a nervous tick why she's laughing. I'm sure she's nervous being on this show too. She probably just misspoke and just can't believe herself that she just said the wrong word. It's probably not exactly what she meant, but she's stuck with it now, as you can see. Piers Morgan's not letting this go.
I find your question funny.
A bloke's been murdered in the street. I don't find it funny at all.
I don't find it funny that tens of thousands of Americans die every year and because they are denied life-saving health care from people like the CEO. Now, I want to fix this system. You're right. We shouldn't be going around shooting each other with vigilante justice. No. I think that it is a good thing that this murder has led to America, or really the media elites and politicians in this country paying attention to this issue for the first time. You mentioned you couldn't understand why somebody would feel this reaction when they watched a CEO die. It's because you have not dealt, it sounds like, with the American healthcare system in the way that millions of other Americans have.
I've dealt with the healthcare system in various ways in America. I don't think it's perfect by any means, but the idea that I would view it as something...
Have you been denied life-saving treatment?
The idea that I would view it as something joyful that a man who's just a healthcare executive, has been executed in the street, I find completely bizarre. Let me bring in Tommy here. Yeah. Tommy, I keep being told. Hang on, Taylor. I'll come back to you.
Okay, Tommy, don't say I'm joyful. I said
you said you were feeling joyful.
Yeah, I take that back. Joyful is the wrong word, Piers.
You think?
But I said, as I clarified, yeah.
Sure. As he's being condescending. I mean, I give her credit for trying to take it back, but now he's just mocking her at this point. And that's what Piers Morgan does. Like, I mean, if you misspeak in front of Piers Morgan, he is going to hone on that and make you look dumb.
Joyful is the wrong word? Yeah,
sure,
I'd say it is.
Vindicated, celebratory, because again, it feels like justice in this system when somebody responsible for the deaths of tens of thousands of Americans suffers the same fate as those tens of thousands of Americans who he murdered.
She probably should not have said, I felt joy like others. She should have just been like, I see others on the internet have joy, but she screwed up in that area. Okay, so there's another video of her on TMZ clarifying what she was saying on Piers Morgan's show. So let's see this real quick.
Talk to us about what's behind this. On its face, it looks like you're saying there should be open season on some of these CEOs.
Absolutely not. So let me just be super clear. No, we should not murder CEOs. No, we should not go around shooting people in the street. That is the wrong lesson to take from this. As I note in my follow-up post to that post about the other CEO, a letter writing campaign would be great. I am a fan of nonviolent action as well. But I think what's really...
There's also an indirect way to mention, celebrating violence without actually saying it. Saying, oh, I wonder why people want them dead, this and that. I mean, just state, hey, killing people, doesn't matter who it is, CEO, whatever, that's not the way we conduct business here. How we prosecute people, how we get them in the highlight of their wrongdoings in society. It is very unfortunate that this happened now, right? This happened. CEO died. And now people are finally talking about it. I wish it didn't take this murder, this unjust murder, this unfortunate murder, for people to be talking about this. Yes, people have been talking about it, don't get me wrong, but not to what it is now. Like, everyone's talking about it. Your celebrities, the news, Congress, people are talking about it right now. And now finally highlighting, yes, how bad the American healthcare system is, how corrupt it is, the level of greed, these corporations have. Just greed, just at the point where, how many more people can we kill so we can make more money? And they get away with it. How many more people can we deny life-saving care so we can get richer? They don't have to look at any of these people in the face at all. It'd be a different story if a CEO was looking at someone in the face before they denied them. But I digress. Let me continue on.
Missing in all of these conversations is context. When you see the entire internet, left and right, united around one thing, and that is celebrating, I hate to say it too, the death of a healthcare CEO, you have to ask why. And I don't think that has been discussed at all. There's no discussions of the systemic cruelty in our healthcare system or the fact that thousands of Americans die because CEOs like this one and others deny essential life-saving care to Americans.
I know she is on PR damage control right now, but at least that statement is pretty good. I give her some credit on that. Basically, rewording what I just said. It did not have to come to this to get everyone talking about how bad the healthcare system is.
And I think that's where this anger is coming from. And of course, people are going to get a little carried away and celebrate, but they're celebrating because it feels like a victory. It feels like somebody stood up to this barbaric, evil, cruel, violent system.
And I hear what you're saying.
I guess I kind of agree to that. Like, is it a victory? I guess it's just like, yes, someone stood up to it. Someone did something. It wasn't the right action, my belief. It wasn't the right way to do things, but it got people talking. I wish we weren't in this situation now. I wish we could go back in time and see if there's a different way to come to this outcome where everyone's talking about it. But here we are now.
Getting people talking, but I want to go back, Taylor, to that. And I know you later in the day you said, look, what I want here is a campaign of peaceful letter writing to these CEOs. But the statement, and I just want to put it up there one more time and see how you feel about it, because this is the one that did sound like you were calling for violence. You said, and people wonder why we want these executives dead.
I am speaking.
It's not calling for violence. It might be, I would believe, more of an indirect way of calling for violence. I mean, this is not the appropriate comment, I would say. It should be reworded without saying we want these executives dead. We should have executives accountable before violent actions occur. Something like that. Something that doesn't allude to violence. I mean, you can wordsmith this, word salad this, whatever you want, saying not violence, it is violence. Sure, I can see it either way.
These executives dead.
I am speaking to the sentiment. People do want these executives dead.
But you said we want them.
She doesn't speak for everyone, though. Sorry, you're not speaking for me, at least.
Dead, and I guess
I
that's.
mean, look, I'm gonna say I'm with the people in the sense that if you have watched a loved one die because insurance has denied their life-saving essential health care, it is natural to wish that the people who run those systems would suffer the same fate as your loved one.
Again, this goes back to justice. That is irrational thinking, but it could be, if you just saw your, loved ones die in front of you when it could have been prevented. Who knows what type of emotions those people can experience? But she's not in a position to talk for everyone who's gone through that. There should be more feelings of we need to seek justice. We cannot allow these people who get rich because they deny healthcare for people who pay into healthcare, and then when they need it the most, they are denied when their lives are on the line. That's the discussion that needs to happen.
And millions of people across America have had this experience. So yes, am I, when I say, do I wish someone dead, is that advocating for them to be killed? No, of course not. But am I going to shed tears or have a lot of empathy for somebody that has facilitated the deaths of thousands of innocent Americans through intentionally denying them coverage? I am not going to, weep over it. I do think that loss of life is a tragedy. I'm very against death generally, as a principle. But I think, again, why do we mourn certain deaths and condone other deaths of innocent, vulnerable people?
Do you think?
I'm sure a lot of people did not shed a tear or felt truly bad for the death of the CEO. I'm sure his family did. I'm sure they're not feeling good. But he's also a CEO who is responsible and got away with the deaths of thousands of Americans who could still be alive today. But because, he's the CEO of a company that's so greedy that they're willing to let people die so they can make more money and more money for their shareholders. It's also not just to have a vigilante shoot him in the back and execute him. He's not the person who just killed him, Luigi, Manigone, I think that's what his last name, I forgot. I mean, he's not in a position to make that judgment. Nevertheless, again, here we are. Hopefully we don't have to see another attempt of violence on a terrible, corrupt, evil, greedy corporation. I hope there's better methods of highlighting their disgusting practice. And so we can do something about it so people feel powerful to stop letting them be so greedy, stop letting them make so much money off our deaths, off our health, off people's poor health, and letting them die and denying them health care. It's a really wonky time right now. I mean, we can all throw out solutions, but I really hope there's a good, civil, justified solution moving forward where we can hold these health insurance companies more accountable, especially when they deny life-saving care.
His death,
we should say his murder.
His murder.
Which is different from dying from an illness, which
Right.
is horrible and should not.
I would say UnitedHealthcare has murdered people, just to be clear. I would say UnitedHealthcare has murdered thousands of Americans by denying them coverage, life-saving coverage.
I get your point.
I get her point too. Now, let me ask you guys, and please comment below. Is it fair to say that the CEO of UnitedHealthcare murdered people for denying them healthcare, life-saving healthcare? Is that the appropriate word, murder? Murder is pretty strong. It is quite the accusation to say that because they denied people life-saving care, it is murder. I'd like to know. I'd like to know what you guys think.
I do get your point on that. Do you think that his murder, Brian Thompson's murder, is a good thing in terms of what it's done to bring all of this to the forefront?
Here's the
No. The answer should be no.
reality. This is something that is clearly affecting millions of people's lives. It has made the media and politicians pay attention. I think it's a tragedy that a murder is what is forcing people in power to pay attention to this issue that is affecting everyone's lives. Again, one CEO shouldn't have to be murdered for them to care about the murder of tens of thousands of other innocent Americans, right? That should be national news as well. So yeah, I would love if it was not a murder. I would love if we just had a more just system and politicians and the media paid attention to the violence that happens every day at the hands of these insurance companies.
Do you?
Okay, she didn't answer the question. She pivoted, went around the question like a politician. I would love to ask her personally. I don't think she ever would talk to me. Who knows? If she would be willing to answer that question, yes or no. I mean, of course, is it good that the CEO of UnitedHealthcare was murdered? The answer should be no. It's not how things should be done in the United States. We should not be, because now people on the internet feel we should have more vigilantes because our justice system's not doing it. No, there are opportunities where it can happen. People are so excited for their favorite football team going to the playoffs, and they all rally behind it in one big group. If we had people with a fraction of that motivation, would be able to take care of these greedy corporations, especially the health insurance companies out there that are super greedy and deny people claims.
View this almost like a revolution where sometimes, there is that kind of collateral damage, which may be the death of some of these people. But are you viewing this kind of like a revolution?
I think a lot of people online are. I think that's deeply concerning because, again, we don't want a violent revolution in this country. We want nonviolent change. We want systemic change. Now, often systemic change only comes through violence when you look historically. However, it is about to be 2025. We have the internet. I do think that the internet gives people a voice. And I think hopefully the media and people in power can look at this outpouring of sentiment and see, this is a problem in society. This is something we should address before we see further violence. Because we don't want violence. The insurance system is violent enough. We want to stop violence here and we want to save lives.
That was a good answer for that last question. I'll give her that. So overall, I mean, she's very opinionated for a journalist. Journalists, and I have a bachelor's in journalism, the job is to just report the facts, no opinions. So-and-so said this, you report it. That's it. Not so-and-so said this, I'm going to translate it that what they meant was this. Nothing like that. Or my opinions. Or she did like, I feel like people feel like this. No, you don't know what people feel. She's more like an activist than a journalist. Trying to highlight and cause change or disruptions to things. A journalist just, like I said, just reports the facts. That's it. Just no filter or anything. Just like, this person did this. Bam, put it out there. Now, they saw someone do something, they interpreted it another way, and the reason why they did it is because of this and that. No. That's not journalism. Journalism just, this is what happened. Boom. Everyone knows. And let the people make their own critical thought about it. Not, I'm going to make my own critical thought, therefore the people need to believe me. I think her biggest mistake was just misspeaking. Just screwed up. I've done it. A lot of other people done it. They said something, and then real quickly in their heads like, oh, actually, I did not really mean it like that. And then she backpedaled and tried to correct herself. But of course, like I said earlier, Piers Morgan was not having it. Either way, that's the end of this video. Please leave a comment below, especially on anything you agree, disagree, or something I left out. Please let me know. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share to the video. Share the video. I'm misspeaking. All right, until next time. Bye.